Group 7 elements, halogens. Group 7 elements can be found at the right of the periodic table, and they are all non-metals. They exist as diatomic molecules. They include the fluorine, chlorine, bromine, and iodine. These all elements, group 7 elements, they have 7 electrons in their outermost shell, and they tend to gain electron or share a pair of electrons in order to reach the full outermost shell, which is the most stable configuration. So they do that either by gaining one electron to form negatively charged ions and form ionic compounds with metals, or simply by sharing a pair of electrons with another non-metal or with any other non-metal, including the same type of the non-metal, to form covalent compounds. As we go down the group, we can see that the reactivity decreases. So they are become more reactive at the top of the group, less reactive as we go down. And this is related to how easy the electron can be gained, because all the chemical properties is related to gaining an electron. So as we go down the group, the size of the element or the size of the atom will increase, which means that the positively charged nucleus will become further away from the outermost shell of electron. So it becomes harder to gain an electron as the size of the atom increases. Fluorine is a very reactive, poisonous yellow gas. Chlorine is very reactive, poisonous, dense green gas. Bromine is dense, poisonous, red-brown, volatile liquid. And iodine is dark gray, crystalline solid with purple vapors. As we go down the group, the melting and boiling point increases, and also the color becomes darker. As we go down the group, we can have seen that reactivity decreases because of the increase in the size and because it becomes harder to gain electrons. Melting and boiling point increase because of the we have more electrons as we go down the group, which means more intermolecular forces. And then, of course, we have higher relative atomic mass as we go down the group. The main reactions of halogens is making ionic compounds with metals through the formation of ionic bonding, like for example with sodium chloride. With nonmetals, they form covalent compounds, such as the share of electrons between chlorine and hydrogen to make hydrogen chloride. And then there is the displacement reaction. So displacement reaction is a kind of reaction where the more reactive halogens can displace the less reactive ones. So as we go down the group, we know that reactivity will decrease. So the halogens which are on the top can displace the less reactive halogens which are at the bottom from their salts. For example, we can see that chlorine can displace the bromine from their salts, where a reaction between chlorine and potassium bromide will give you the salt of chlorine, which is potassium chloride, and will give you bromine as an aqueous solution. So chlorine is a pale green gas and potassium bromide solution is colorless. So when you react chlorine with potassium chloride, that will form the bromine, which will gonna be an aqueous solution, and the color of the solution will change from colorless into orange. Also, chlorine can displace iodine, which is less reactive from its salt. So if you react chlorine with potassium bromide, which is colorless, will give you potassium chloride and will give you iodine as aqueous solution, which is going to be brown solution. Remember that halogen displacement reactions are a redox reaction. And for example, chlorine will react with potassium bromide, gives you bromine and potassium chloride. Chlorine has been reduced as the two chlorine atoms in chlorine gas gained two electrons to give to chloride. And we know that reduction is the loss, is the gaining of electrons, while bromide, when potassium bromide, has been oxidized as it lost electrons and it gave you the bromine. So the half ionic equation for the redox reaction for the oxidation of bromide. Bromide gives you bromine and 2 electrons, and then chlorine is reduced where chlorine gains 2 electrons to give you 2 chloride. And then the ionic equation can be written as chlorine plus 2 bromide gives you 2 chloride and bromine. Remember that potassium is